Okay, Baruch Hashem. Baruch Shechianu v'kimonu v'genu l'zman hazeh. B'ezras Hashem, today we are going to finish up the first parak. So I know many of us thought, "Wow, how are we going to do it?" And Sanhedrin is so big. It's so big, but everything. If you just write what it says, you learn 2 halachot a day, you're going to become a genius. Why? If you do a little bit at a time, you're going to get there. It's also that's the way you learn. It's not just you learn two a day. It's that sometimes you max out. I don't know about you, but sometimes last night after Shabbat, I was trying to learn halachot that I was preparing for Sunday night for the service here, and my head wasn't working. At some point, that's it. Now done. That's why I think also it says you learn 2 halachot a day. You'll learn a little bit each day. This way, you're going to remember more better. It's not to say that after your head doesn't work, you can't learn halakha. No, you can learn something else, something that's easier. You learn a story, you hear a nice shot, and stuff like that. All right, let's move to our Gemara. We are holding on Daf Ted Zion Amid Bet. So in English, that's 16B-4. Okay. All right. Fine. Everybody's ready? 16B-4. Here. All right. We're at the bottom line on Tezayin Amud Bet. So on the right-hand column, 16B-4. Sanhedrin Gedola Haita. Mishnah said a machloket. Mishnah had a machloket. How many people sat on the Sanhedrin? Talking about the big Sanhedrin. Was it 70 or was it 71? The machloket really is totally in. Moshe Rabbeinu and Sefer Bamidbar, people are complaining. Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, I can't handle this anymore. Too much complaint. Hashem says, okay, I'll use the Kenim, some of the elders, to come and help you. So Moshe had to collect 70 of them. And Moshe now was sharing the powers with them. They were going to help. Now the question is those 70, were they considered the Sanhedrin? And that's it? Or is Moshe a part of those 70? So now you get to 71. That's really the machloket. So now the Rabbanan said 71. Yehuda said 70. So the Gemara starts, my kamod the Rabbanan the Amrei Moshe al Gabeyan. What's the reason that the rabbis say that Moshe was with the 70? So you get to 71. So they say here's a pasuk. Omakra, it says in Bamidbar. This whole incident is happening. Vahityatzeu sham, and they shall stand there imach with you. That those 70 have to stand together with Moshe. Imach the atabahadayu, you with them. They're together with you. So therefore, it is 71. Rabbi Yehuda. Now, Rabbi Yehuda, you have the word imach. Imach means with them. It should be 71. Why did you say 70? Rabbi Yehuda says imach. No. Imach means meshum shechina, because of the shechina. We're going to learn like the second shot in Rashi. If you look at Rashi, top Rashi on the page of Yud Zayin with Aleph, you see where you go one line down in the Rashi, Loshen Acher, another explanation of what it means, shechina, meshum shechina, teshara shechina aleim, hitzerchu liyot Moshe imahen, dichteh ve'atzalti min haruach asher alecha. In order for these 70 to get some of the Shekhinah that Moshe Rabbeinu had, they had to be next to him in order to get it. That's what it means, imach. Imach means not that Moshe was part of them to get to 71, but rather they were standing next to Moshe so the Shekhinah can go on them as well. That's what the word imach means in that pasuk. So now, that's a good explanation. So what do the rabbis do? The word imach means for Hashem's Shekhinah to go on them. Rabbanon, and now what are the Rabbanon? That pasuk is no longer available to them. So what are they using? Omakra. They say have a different pasuk. It says over there in Bamidbar, the whole incident is happening. That what's the reason that they're going to be there? And they will share with you the burden of the nation. That these 70 will share with Moshe the burden of carrying the nation. Itecha, it says Itecha with you. Moshe with them. That means they're helping Moshe carry the burden. So it's 71, not 70. Rabbi Yehuda says, no. That's not what that Itecha here doesn't mean together with Moshe. What it means is Itecha v'domyun lecha, those who are similar to you, which means is the pasuk says, Moshe Rabbeinu, when you collect the 70 elders, you have to get people who are similar to you. They have to be special people, good people, not people who have any problems, no mums, no family defects or stuff like that, or physical blemishes. They have to be right to be on the Sanhedrin. Rabbanon, Mirabanon. They're saying the word Itecha means Moshe is with them. So where did they learn? Where do they learn that the judges have to be similar? The Sanhedrin people are saying they have to be similar to Moshe. You're going back to Yitro in Sefer Shemot. Yitro gave advice to make judges, and there, when he said, "V'hakel me'alecha v'naseu itach." Okay, it'll be easier for you, and they'll help you carry the people. And there it says itach, with you, and that means they should be like you. That's where they learned it from. And the Rabbanan say we can learn from the small Sanhedrin, which was what Yitro was advising, small courts. They can learn from that to the big court. If you have to be like Moshe Rabbeinu for a small court, you have to be like Moshe Rabbeinu for sure for the big courts. However, Rabbi Yehuda would say, no, you cannot learn from the small court to the big court. Therefore, I need the pasuk by Midbar where it says Itecha, then it means similar to you. Therefore, I don't have a source according to Rabbi Yehuda that Moshe Rabbeinu was with them. And therefore, Rabbi Yehuda holds you need 70, and Rabbi Banan holds you need 71. That's the machloket of 70, 71. Is how you learn up the psukim regarding the Shirim Zikinim. Okay, now that we talked about these 70 elders, we're going to talk about how it came out, how it became this way. Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught in the Braita. It says when Moshe was getting all the Zikinim, two of them stayed in the camp. Beisharu shnei anashim b'machaneh. And we all know who were these two people. No, who were these two people who didn't want to come up? It's famously Eldad and Medad. Now, exactly who Eldad and Medad is machloket and really midrashim. Midrashim say different opinions. Some say the different shvatim.
His cousins.
Say what?
His cousins, no?
So according to one shot, this is the famous shot that people like to talk about. They're actually Moshe Rabbeinu's half brothers, right? Yocheved was sent away by Amram, right? The Paro said no boys, so he said, I'm not going to have any more boys. And he sent away his wife. And during that time, she married somebody, and she had kids, Eldad and Medad. Then eventually, I don't know, she got back to Amram, and she had Moshe. Of course, this is all before the Torah was given, so there was no isser of taking back a divorced wife who married someone else. Anyway, Eldad made that great tzaddikim. Now, they didn't come to join Moshe Rabbeinu when they were supposed to come. Why not? Let's see the whole story. Yesh Omrim. When it says that they remained, what does it mean they remained? Some mean b'kalpei nishtaru. They remained in the box. What does it mean they remained in the box? When Hashem said to Moshe, Esfali shivim ish miziknei Yisrael, collect 70 people from the Jewish people. Amar Moshe said, how am I going to do this? We have 12 shvatim. If I take 6 from every shevet, I'm going to end up with 72, and I need to collect 70. If I take 5 from every shevet, I'm going to end up with 60. I'm going to be missing 10. If I take 6 from here and 5 from a different shevet, Harini, mitil kina ben ishmatim. There's going to become jealousy among Yeshua. They're going to start to fight. Why he took from me 5, took from him 6? Why he's special? Why I'm not? So me'asa. What did Moshe Rabbeinu do? Birer shisha shisha. He said 6 from each one to come up. Each shevet 6. You have the total of 72, but you need 70. So what do you do? Vehevi shiv'im ushnaim pitakin. He brought 72 papers, or whatever they write on, whatever instrument you write on at that time. Al shiv'im katab zaken. On 70 of these pieces of paper, he wrote the word zaken, elder. Ushnaim heniya halak. 2 of them, he left smooth, he left empty, he didn't put anything on it. Belalan untanan mekapi. Moshe Rabbeinu then mixed it up, making a lottery. Amrlan, he said to them, Ba'u utlu pitekachem. Come and draw your lot. Take your gairil, book your lot. Call mi sha'ala biyado zaken. Anyone who got zaken, Amar, he said to them, Kibar kichicha shemayim. Shemayim, Hashem made you a elder, a Sanhedrin, member of the Sanhedrin. Mi sha'ala biyado halak. Amar, whoever had an empty paper, Amar, he said to them, Hamakom lo chapetz becha, ani ma eseh lecha. Hashem didn't choose you. What can I do for you? So basically, Moshe Rabbeinu put a lottery system this way. Omen Hashemayim, whoever was supposed to be would get chosen. Whoever not. This is Moshe Rabbeinu didn't have to tell someone no and not. And this is what happened. So Eldad and Medad, they knew it had to be 70, and they said, listen, we 2 are not going to go. And this way, there'll be 70 Zakinim, and they become Sanhedrin Gadol, and we won't, and we'll stay here. Moshe Rabbeinu gets to 70 there. He gives out the parchments, and 2 of the members who came up there got blank parchments. And 2 more parchments are left in the box that said Zaken that belonged to Eldad and Medad. That's what it means that their parchment, their paper was left in the box because they didn't pick it out, so theirs were left in the box. Similarly, we find Moshe Rabbeinu used the same gyro, the same lottery system in another incident in the Midbar. What's the incident? Hashem said that no more the firstborns are going to be doing the service. The Levi'im are going to take their place. The issue was there were 22,000 Levi'im, but there were 22,273 firstborns. So the redemption of a firstborn to a Levi was in a deficit of 273. There weren't enough 273 Levi'im to redeem all the firstborns. So what did Moshe Rabbeinu do? He said, Hashem said you have to take 5 shekels from each man, right? Like you do pidyon the ben, 5 coins. So how about Moshe? Moshe said, how am I going to tell to the firstborns who should pay the 5 shekels? If I tell this guy, give me the money, give me the 5 shekels, he's going to say to me, why I have to pay you? Yomer li kavar pedeni ben Levi. That Levi already took my spot. I don't have to pay for it. I'm not one of the excess ones. That Levi exchanged places with me. So me'asa, the mother Moshe Rabbeinu do. He brought 22,000 lots on which he wrote the Chatav Aleim ben Levi. He wrote ben Levi. One time Chatav Aleim hamisha shekalim. And 273, he wrote on them 5 shekalim. Belalan, he mixed it. He put them in a box. Amrlan, he said to them, go pick up your lot. Ben Levi Amar Lo. Whoever picked up the lot that said Ben Levi, Ben Levi, you already redeemed with that Levi who took your spot. And anyone who took up one that said 5 shekalim, 10 pidunecha v'tzeh. Give your redemption, and you should go, and you can go. See, Moshe Rabbeinu was trying to be as fair as possible. He didn't want it to be, anyone saying, he's picking on me, choosing on me, he's makes me pay. The other guy, he didn't say anything. No, everything in Shemayim, you choose what you get. Okay, now Rabbi Shimon Omer, Rabbi Shimon says, "B'machaneh nishtaru." No, Eldad and Medad didn't get stuck in the box, get left in the box. They stayed in the camp. What happened? B'shash amar lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu Moshe. The time when Hashem said to Moshe, "Esveli shivim ish," collect for me 70 people. Amru Eldad and Medad. Eldad and Medad said, "And anur in lo ota gedulah." We're not zocheta is gedulah, this greatness to be one of the Zakanim. We're not zocheta to this. We're not going to go. It's not for us. We're not on that madrega. Amar Kodesh Baruch Hu said, "Ho'il umi adatem atzmechem." You humbled yourselves. It looks like Artsina. You see, a lot of times Hashem likes people when they're humble. You humble yourself. Hareni mosif gedulah al gedulatchem. I'm going to put more greatness on your greatness already. Uma gedulah mosif lahem. What was the gedulah that he gave them? Nitnabe'u. Shahanavim kulan nitnabe'u pasku. All those other elders that became elders, they prophesied and then they stopped prophesying. They were navi for a short period of time and then they stopped becoming neviim. Vehem nitnabe'u lo pasku. Eldad and Medad were prophets and they continue to be prophets. Okay? Uma nevuah nitnabe'u. And what was the prophecy that Eldad and Medad shared? What was it? Amru, they said, Moshe met, Moshe will die, Yeshua machnis et Yisrael la'aretz. And Yeshua is going to take them in to the land. Okay, when I was learning this, the way I learned it, basically Gemara is going to kind of, if you learn it this way, it's easy to understand the Gemara later on. There's two parts to this. Moshe will die, and Yeshua will take in. Moshe dying is no big nevuah. It's not a big kiddush. Everybody dies. So Moshe dying wasn't the nevuah part. The nevuah part really was that Moshe is going to die before they go into Eretz Yisrael, and Yeshua is going to be bringing them into Eretz Yisrael. Okay, it's going to play out later on. You're going to see it. If you learn it that way, it's going to be a lot easier. Yes, Efraim.
Who else was there in line?
I don't know. I had no idea who else was in line. But the prophecy here was that Moshe Rabbeinu was going to die before going to Eretz Yisrael, and Yeshua was taking it in. That's the part of the prophecy. The part that Moshe is going to die, that's not really prophetic because everyone's going to die. And we're going to see how that plays out. Now, that's only one opinion of what they actually prophesied. There are two more opinions of what they actually said. Abba Chanin Omer Mishum Rabbi Eliezer. Abba Chanin said to Eliezer, you know what nevuah they gave? Al iskei selav hem mitnabeim. Alei selav. At that point, this whole thing started was that people came and complained about the mun. They wanted meat. So at this point, Eldad Medad had a nevuah to say that the slav, the birds, the pheasants, to come into the camp, they gave that nevuah. That was the nevuah they gave. Rav Nachman says no. They gave a different nevuah. What was the nevuah? Shneimar, Ko amar Adonai Elohim ha'atahu, asher dibarti b'yamim kadmonim, v'yad avedai, Nevi'ei Yisrael ha'nebi'im b'yamim ahem, shanim la'avi otecha alehem. Thus says the Lord our God, are you Gog, the one about whom I spoke in the ancient days through my servant, the prophets of Israel who prophesied in those days, shanim, years ago, to bring you against Klal Yisrael. Now the Gemara says, Al tikrei shanim, don't read it years ago, but rather, Ela Shenayim, by the two prophets, the Ezuhu Shenayim Nevi'im Shenetve'u Beperek Echad Nevuah Echad. And who were these two prophets who prophesied at the same time? Evi Omer, Eldad Umedad. It was Eldad and Medad. So according to this opinion, according to Nachman, their Nevuah was about Gog Umagog. That was their Nevuah. Now, so you have three opinions of what the nevuah was. Moshe dies, Yeshua takes them in, or about the birds that come to the camp, or about Gog uMagog. Amamar, kol nevi'im kulan nitnabe'u upasku. You told me that all the other elders who became zekinim, they all had nevuah, and then it stopped. But Elder Medad, because they didn't go to become Zekenim, they became Zekenim and they never stopped prophesizing because of their humbleness. That was the special thing that they got. Manala and Pasku. From where do we know that the other 68 elders stopped prophesying? If you want to say from what it says in Pasuk, they prophesied and then they didn't yasafu. Yasafu can mean they didn't continue. Can you really say that? Because it says by Matan Torah, Kol Gadol, Belo Yasaf, Hashem's voice came, Belo Yasaf. You cannot say it didn't continue. It rather means it did not stop. It means it never stopped. So how can you say the others stopped prophesying? The word Belo Yasufu means they didn't stop prophesying. Ela, this is what it says. By the other prophets, it says that they prophesied b'lashon avar in the past tense. They already prophesied. Hatam kitiv, but Eldad and Medad, it says mitnabeim. It says it b'lashon right now in the present. Adayim mitnabeim v'hochim. Now they're prophesying and continuing. Therefore, we see from the way the Torah speaks of how they prophesied, we know that the other elders, their prophecy ended. But Eldad and Medad, because of their anava, because of their humbleness, their prophecy continued. Now, we know that when they were prophesying, Yoshua came to Moshe and he said to them, Adoni Moshe kilaem. How do you usually understand kilaem? When Yoshua came, what is it? How did you guys understand that before? When Yeshua came and said Eldad and Medad were prophesying. No? Anybody?
All I know is that Joshua wasn't happy about it, and
Right.
and Moshe Rabbeinu was surprised why he reacted in such a way.
So what did Yeshua recommend to be done to Eldad and Medad? So let's see. The one who said that the prophecy was that Moshe should die, that's what makes sense because it says, Yehoshua said, Adoni Moshe kilaem. Moshe, we have to destroy them. Yehoshua said we have to kilaem. Usually the word kilaem means to destroy them. I usually understood this to mean we have to kill them. We're going to see from today's Gemara that's not actually what Yehoshua recommended in a minute or two. But if they gave a prophecy about birds to come to be eaten, or they gave a prophecy about Gog Umagog, my Adoni Moshe kilaem. Why is Yehoshua suggesting that they be destroyed? It's not like they did anything bad. They didn't say Moshe is dying. They didn't say anything bad about Moshe. Gemara answers the lav orach ara because it's not derech eres. It's not proper conduct. Why? It's because it's like if they were giving, like the rabbi is there, and instead of asking the rabbi, they're giving the halacha, which is asur. Therefore, and Yeshua said they're not doing right. We have Moshe Rabbeinu, and they're prophesying. Not good. According to the two opinions, let's say it was about the birds, or it was about Gog and Magog. That's when Moshe responded and said, "What are you getting all excited about? Hashem would give everybody his shechina, his ruach. Everyone will become prophets." But according to the opinion that they said Moshe was going to die, he's not going to bring them into Eretz Yisrael. Why would Moshe say, "Hey, it's okay"? Moshe would want to go into Eretz Yisrael. The Gemara answers, "Lo stiuma kameh." Yeshua didn't finish. Yeshua didn't finish giving the prophecy, meaning Yeshua said to Moshe, they're prophesying, and I know the article says that the way the article explains it based on the Yad Ramah that they said, the Yeshua said, Eldad and Medad are saying the Nevuah in the camp. And that's all Moshe Rabbeinu said. Moshe said, okay, fine. it should be good. He didn't hear what they actually said. And the way I saw it, the way I thought I saw it somewhere, and the way why that's why I learned more earlier differently was that they came and they said, that's what the Gemara seems to be saying, Lo yisiyuma kamer. They didn't finish saying. Yeshua didn't finish saying, meaning he told Moshe, they said Moshe's going to die. Moshe said, what's the problem? Everyone's going to die. It's not, it's not a bad nevuah. He didn't hear the part that he's going to die before he goes into Eretz Israel. That's what it means. He only heard part of it. And therefore, he said, I'm going to die. That's no biggie. Yeah, I'm sure I'm going to die. Everyone dies. Fine. Now, my him. What does it mean? Yeshua said, let's destroy them. Eldad Meidan. How are they going to destroy them? Kill them? What are you doing? So Amar Lei, Yeshua said to Moshe, Hatel alehen tzorchei tzibor, vehen kalin me'elehen. Give them tzorchei tzibor, meaning in order to have nevuah, in order to have prophecy, one of the prerequisites is you have to be a happy person. Yeshua says, give Eldad Meidan to be communal figures, to work in the community, to help people and stuff like that. Once you're working with people, it's not very easy to be happy. Everybody has their own issue. Everyone's always upset. There's always some problem. And therefore, you give them the problems of the community, they're going to end up not being happy. And then they're not going to have prophecy anymore. That was Yehoshua's advice according to the Gemara. All right. So far, so good. Everyone understands. This was the easier part of the Gemara for today. Next part's not hard either. Just got to pay a little bit of attention. All right. The Mishnah said that for capital punishment, we had to have 23 judges. And the Mishnah got the 23 judges how? The Mishnah said you need 23. Why? Because it says the word edah, congregation, which means 10, that you need 10 to judge, to prosecute, and 10 to defend when it comes to capital punishment. So you need 20. Off the bat, you need 20. Then they brought a pasuk that said that when it comes to convict someone for guilty to kill somebody, you have to convict with a majority of 2. This is going way back to the first day that we started Sanhedrin. You have to have a majority of 2, not a simple majority of 1, but a majority of 2. And now you're left at 22. But we don't make an even bet in. Therefore, you put 23. That's how we got to a Sanhedrin Ketana, the small Sanhedrins that deal with capital punishment, to having 23. Okay. Now, we told you need to have more than a simple majority. It means you need to have 2 in the majority to convict. So now the Gemara says as follows. Now, this is where the Gemara picks up. So, in the final analysis, in the end story, a case where a majority of 2 convict cannot happen when you have 23. You either have 1, 3, or above 3. You don't have a case of 2. Why? If you have 11 who want to acquit, who want to say innocent, and you have 12 who want to say guilty, so 12 and 11 is 23. So you only have a majority of 1. You have one vote majority. Is the king. You have 10 who say innocent. And 13 who say guilty. You have a majority of 3 votes. You told me I need to have a majority of 2. Meanwhile, with a configuration of 23, you'll never get to a majority of 2. Yes, you can have a majority of 3, 4, 5, 6 is fine. But we never see a majority of 2 case. That's the Gemara's question. Amar Abo said, you'll only find it when you do Musifin. What does this mean, Musifin? Just like you do on Shabbat, Musifin, you add on extra aliyot. It's when you add on extra judges. What's the case? A divrei hakol, and goes according to everyone. What's the case? Simple case. You have 23 judges. You have 11 and 11, 11 guilty, 11 innocent. You have 22. 23rd fellow says, I do not know what to do. He doesn't know. When one of the judges say, I don't know, he's removed as a judge. And in his place will come two more judges. So what happens now? You remove one from 23 at 22. You add two more, you're at 24. Once you're at 24, now you can have a 13 to 11 vote. You can have 13 that says guilty, 11 that says innocent. Here you'll have your majority to vote. Now, yes, your question about making an even bet didn't exist. Tomorrow we'll deal with that in a second. So that's the case that you'll have a majority of two is when you add on two more judges after one judge says he doesn't know what to do. And it goes according to all opinions. Now, there's another place where you have a majority of two, but it doesn't go according to everyone. With Sanhedrin, and when you have a great Sanhedrin, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, who says you have 70 judges. So if you have 70 judges, you can have a two majority. You'll have 36 guilty and 34 innocent. So you'll have a two majority over the innocent, right? Two majority of guilty over the innocent. Okay. But Omar Rabbi Abo said the most if you're adding two to this betin of 23, or one guy didn't know what to do, so you put him aside and you put two more judges in the place, you're starting a betin now with 24. I thought we're not supposed to do this. Gemara says, no, you're allowed to do it. You're allowed to do this. Gemara says, Pshita. Of course, it's obvious. What else? If you're going to add two, it's going to become even. Mahu detema. What would you have said? Haidika Amar and you did command etedame. The Amar Miltash Amin and let. Kamash Milan. The Haidika Amar and you did command letedame. The Amar Tama lo shamin le. Ah, you might have thought, no, don't make a bet in shakul. If really when we're adding two more, we're not adding to 22 to 2 or 24. We're adding to 22 to 23 to get 25. That guy still has an opinion. The guy who says, I don't know. And he can give his opinion. Gemara says, now that we know we can make a bet in shakul, and even bet when you add on two judges, that tells me this guy has no opinion. The guy who says, I don't know, he cannot now say guilty. According to the Rambam, he's not allowed to say guilty. We won't listen to him. He's not counted for that. But if he wants to say innocent, according to the Rambam, I don't know how he sees it in the Gemara, but that's the way the Rambam learns out the Gemara, is that if for innocent, we will listen to him. Okay? That's the way the Rambam learns that Gemara. Okay. Amar Rav Kahana. Sanhedrin shira'u kula lechova. If a Sanhedrin convicts someone, everyone says he has to die. Solomon had a question. Yes.
Are we talking about capital punishment cases?
Capital punishment cases, yes. 23 judges, yes.
Didn't we learn that if one person says he's not guilty, we don't kill him? Why there is a two people majority is needed, basically?
What do you mean? If one person says he's not guilty, we don't kill him? No, if you have a two-person majority that says guilty, we do kill him. We go back with the majority. We have to be a two majority.
What is it? So why was Rabbi Akiva says that we do everything in our power to avoid the death penalty and trying to find
We do. We try to be melamed zechut. We try to find reasons not to punish them. But if a two majority says to be killed, he gets killed. Yes.
So that is the standard.
That is the standard. Yes. Two or more, a majority that says guilty, we will kill him. Yeah.
It's not unanimous, basically.
No. In fact, look at this Gemara. The Gemara says if it is unanimous, you do not kill him. Amar Rav Kahana. If everyone says he's guilty, we don't kill him. My Tama, what's the reason? Kivan the Gemini, because usually when you finish a case, you don't kill the guy right away. You wait overnight, and then you go and kill him. But now everyone says guilty. No one's going to even think about him being innocent. And because no one was melamed zechut, that's what you were talking about, Solomon, is that you're supposed to find a way to make him innocent, right? If no one can find a way for him to be innocent, then we don't kill him. He is patur, he walks free. So it's a very interesting case, right? Everybody agrees he needs to die, he doesn't die. And maybe if you really want him dead, you should say he's innocent. And this way you can get him killed. Now, this is the way the Rambam learns the Gemara. It's the way the Rambam brings down the halacha. Rashi learns like this as well. However, the Rosh learns the Gemara a little different in this place. The Rosh says, no, the Gemara means poterin oto min ha'olam. You take him out of the world. That means if all the members of the Sanhedrin agree he needs to be killed, you don't wait overnight. You kill him right away. That's the way the Rosh learns. However, again, Rashi and Rambam don't learn this way. Allah the Rambam brings down. The Rambam will be the source of Allah we have for this. In the case of all the judges say he is guilty, we do not kill him. He walks free. Okay. Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Ein moshevin b'Sanhedrin ela ba'alei koma." You cannot put in Sanhedrin judges unless they are tall. Judges have to be tall. Okay? Ova'alei chokhmah. And they have to be wise. And here the Mefarshim say it doesn't mean in Torah. In Torah is already given. They have to know their Torah well. But it means here they have to be wise. They have to be wise in other wisdoms. They have to know other things in the world. How stuff works, how stuff are. Properties, physics, science, whatever it is. Uvale mare. And they have to be those of good appearance. They have to look good. I remember, was it maybe 10, 15 years ago, my father invited Harav Hagon Rabbi Yeshua to come speak at my father's shul. And I remember my grandmother, we're also related to him, but my grandmother saw him, and then after the thing, she was saying, "Anna Rabbi, you see his face, he's like a radiant coming out. He looks like he has royal features on his face." That's what it means. You have to and he's also tall, by the way, right? You have to have somebody tall, wise, smart, looks impressive. You have to have judges of stature to be on the Sanhedrin Gedalah, right? Or the Sanhedrin. Uvale zikna. And they have to be old, but not old. And they cannot be young. The Mefarshim explained is that they have to have rahmanut. They have to have mercy. And if you have children at home living with you, you're very merciful. If you're a young guy with no children, you're not merciful because you don't know what it means to have children and people need stuff. And if you're too old, you already forgot what it means to have children. And therefore, they cannot be on the Sanhedrin. It has to be people who are like us, all right? We have children. And they have to know magic. They have to know magic. A lot of the cases where people who did witchcraft, others Mefarshim explain that they have to know how to use Kabbalah to make things happen. The Shema Mufurash and other things like that, they would need to have known that. Ve'yodeim be'ayin lashon. And they have to know the 70 languages. Because the halacha is you have to hear the witness, right? The only testimony that's valid in Betin is the witness's testimony. And you have to hear it from the witness. The witness speaks a different language, and you're using a translator. You're not hearing it from the witness. The edut is not going to be kosher. Therefore, you have to be able to understand all the languages. Now, Amr Yehuda Amarav, Ein Moshevin b'Sanhedrin, El Mi she'yodeh l'taher et hasheretz min haTorah. You can't put someone on the Sanhedrin unless he can take what's known as a sheret, which itself is a piece of tumah, right? Lizards and stuff like that, toad, whatever they translate it as. He has to be able to say a sheretz is tahor. He has to say what's tameh is tar. He has to prove it. Now, obviously, you cannot make a sheretz a tahor. But I think what the Gemara is trying to say is that, and this is the way the Marshal explains it as well, if the Indian is that he should find a way to be melamed zechut, to find a way to make something that looks bad look good, right? That's why the Gemara just, the Gemara ended in saying if everyone says he's guilty, he goes free because nobody tried to find a way to make him innocent. That's problematic. And judges have to find a way to always make something innocent even when it's not. And then they'll go with halacha, like it says over here. Amar Rav, ani adun va'at harenu. Rav says, I'll do this. I'll make a sheret tahor. Sheret to stomach, I'll make a tahor. How? Here's my explanation. Uma nochash. As we're starting in 17b1. Uma nochash. What about a snake? Shememi, that kills. Umar betuma, and he spreads tumah. As he kills, people and animals become tameh. Tahor, he himself is tahor. So you see, even though he spreads tumah, he himself is tahor. Sheret, she'elamamit, umar betuma, sheret. That doesn't kill, it doesn't cause more tumah. Eino din shehi tahor. Is it not the law that it should be tahor? So you see, he made a kal v'chomer and showed how a sheret is tahor. The Gemara says v'loihi. That's not the case. What are you going to tell me now that a thorn that killed somebody, right? Some piece of wood that killed somebody also becomes tameh now because it killed someone? It doesn't work like that. Tameh is not because you caused something else to become tameh. You killed someone and became tameh. Tameh is because the Torah said it's tameh. But I think the whole idea of this sugya was to say that the chachamim who sat in Sanhedrin should find a way to make it kosher, and then they'll say, but the halacha doesn't allow us to make this kosher. Even though you can try to explain it and this and that way, in the end, the halacha is not that way. But that's what it means to be melamed zechut. You should find a way to make him innocent. Okay? Amar Yehuda, Amar Rav, Kol ir she'en ba shenayim ledaber. If we don't have a city where you want a Sanhedrin to be, two people who can speak all 70 language, and one to hear, one who understands it but can't speak it, according to Rav, you need two who can speak all 70 languages and one who can understand all 70 languages. So doesn't mean the whole Sanhedrin has to hear it, has to know how to speak it. Three of them have to. For instance, two who speak and one who understands. The reason for that being is three is already considered a bet din, right? Three judges for mammon, for money is already considered a bet din. Therefore, once you have some form of bet din, understanding the edim, that's already enough. So he said you have three. If you don't have those three, you don't make a Sanhedrin. Over betah havu shaloshat. In betah they had three. Over Yavne arba. In Yavne they had four. Rabbi Eliezer, Rabbi Yeshua, Rabbi Akiva. Those are the three rabbis. And Shimon HaTimini, and they had Shimon HaTimini. Dalit Nehem B'Karka. Shimon Timini, he was a great scholar, but he was not an ordained rabbi. Therefore, he couldn't sit on the Sanhedrin, but he helped them, and he also understood all the languages. Metvei, they had a question. Shlishit Chochma. It said if you have three, that's a wise big thing to understand all 70 language. Revi'id and Lamalahimna. If you have four, there's nothing better than this. The Tanya, Shni'ah Chochma. But Rav learned that you need two who speak, and then one who hears it. But I thought you need three, Shlishit Chochma. Where it says Shni'ah, they have another brighter. Tanya, another brighter, Shni'ah Chochma. Two who understand, two who speak, and one who understands. That is considered a wise beit din. Shlishit, you have all three who understand. And lamala himina, you don't have better than this. So we see it's very important that they would have those members of the Sanhedrin who can speak all the languages. Lemedin lifnei chachamim. They were now. So now that we mentioned Shimon Temani, now the Gemara is going to bring down the list of sayings that are found in the Gemara and explain who it means when they say it. For example, lemedin lifnei chachamim. When they say that they studied it before the rabbis, this is Levi mirabi. This is Levi learning from Rabbi Yehuda Hanossi. When it says Danin lifnei chachamim, that they learned it in front of the chachamim, Shimon ben Azai, Shimon ben Zoma, Hanana Misri, Hananya ben Chachinai. Those are the four people that it means. From Nachman Yitzchak, Matan Hamisha. Nachman Yitzchak said, no, it means five people when it says they learned in front of the sages. Shimon, right? So Shimon ben Zoma, Shimon ben Azai, and Shimon Temani. That's where it comes in. And Hanan v'Hananya. Then those two other, you get to a total of five. Rabotenu Shibbavel. When it says the rabbis of Bavel, Rab and Shmuel. Rabotenu Sheretz Yisrael. When it says the rabbis of Israel, it'll be Abba. Rabbi Abba. Daine Gola, the judges of the diaspora, Chutz La'aretz, Karnan. Daine Eretz Yisrael, the judges of Eretz Yisrael, Rabbi Ami, Rabbi Asi. Daine de Pumpadita, the judges of the Pumpadipa, Rab Papa Bar Shmuel, Papa son of Shmuel. Daine de Nahadria, the judges of Nahadria, Rav Ada Bar Minomi. Sabeh de Surah, the elder of Surah, Rav Huna Rav Chizda. Sabeh de Pumpadita, the elders of Pumpadita, Rabbi Huda Rav Eina. Charife de Pumpadita, the sharp ones of Pumpadita, Efa v'Avimi b'nei Rachava. Efa and Avimi, the sons of Rachava. Amorae de Pumpadita, the Amor of Pumpadita, Rabba Rav Yosef, Rabba Rav Yosef. Amorei de Nahadria, Rav Hama, the Amor of Nahadria, Rav Chama. Nahar Bale'e Matnu, the Nahar Bale'in taught that Rami Barbi. This is Rami Barebi. Amrei Be Rav. They said in the academy of Rav, that's Rav Huna. Gemara says, but really? But we have places that says for Amr Rav Huna, Amr Be Rav. That Rav Huna said, the academy of Rav said. So Rav Huna saying in his own name? No. Ela Rav Hamnuna. When, according to some opinions, it means whenever Rav Huna says it was said in the Beis Medrash of Rav, he means Rav Hamnuna. When it's not Rav Huna saying it, then it means it's Rav Huna. That's the way Rashi in another opinion learns. Others say no, it means everywhere it's Rav Hamnuna. Anyway, moving further, 17b2. Amra b'marava, they said it in Eretz Yisrael, is Rabbi Yirmiyah. Shalchu mitam, when they sent it from there, from Eretz Yisrael, it's Rabbi Yossi bar Hanina. It's Rabbi Yossi bar Hanina. Machachu ala b'marava, they laughed about it in the west, Rabbi Elazar. That's Rabbi Elazar. Gemara says, the one who sends it from Eretz Yisrael is Rabbi Yossi. They send it from there as Rabbi Yossi. It can't be. Because once they send something from Eretz Yisrael, and it said, according to Rabbi Yossi, if it's Rabbi Yossi and everyone knows it's Rabbi Yossi who sends it, why do they have to write according to Rabbi Yossi bar Hanina? Eila epoch. Rather, flip it around. Shalchu mitam, when they send it from there, is Rabbi Elazar. Machachu ala marava, they laughed about it in Eretz Yisrael. It's Rabbi Yossi bar Hanina. It's Rabbi Yossi bar Hanina. They have all these great rabbis, and now you have the phrases that go with them. You ever see a phrase and you want to know who's actually said it, you can come back over here to Daf Yud Zayin with bit to check who said according to the saying that's in the Gemara. Okay. The Chama Hayed Ba'ir, the Yeruah Sanhedrin, Me'av Isnin. The Mishnah said, in order to have a Sanhedrin Ketana, the 23 judges, you need to have some machlokes in the Mishnah. You need either 120 or 230 people. These 120 people, what is their function? What's these 120 people that you need? The Gemara says, the 23 Keneged Sanhedrin Ketana, 23 are the Sanhedrin. And then every Sanhedrin had 3 rows of 23 of students who were learning. So now you already have 92. And then every city needed to have 10 batlanim, 10 people who don't have jobs. What does this mean? Not bums sitting on the corner in the street. The Gemara says you cannot have a shul that has a time for a minyan, and when it comes time, people are not ready there, or the minyan's not ready. In order, because that's a big problem. Hashem comes and says, "Where's my people?" They said they're going to daven at 7:30, and nobody's here. It's a big. Hashem gets very angry if you do that. If you said it's Zman and nobody's there at that time. So in order to avoid that, they got 10 people and they told them, "You're always in the shul. Anytime we're supposed to have a minyan, we already have a minyan." So Hashem is not waiting for us to start. That's what's called a Jewish city. So now you're up to 102. Now every court needs to have 2 scribes. And you need 2 officers. And 2 people who are coming to argue the case. 2 witnesses. 2 witnesses who can discredit those witnesses. And another 2 witnesses who can discredit those witnesses who discredit the first witnesses. So far, you're at 114. Yes, son. Question?
Yeah, is there a limit in that? The 10 people must be there on time? Like when you're reading the
Yeah, they
Mirror,
have to be in the shul for the prayer times, yes.
But what if you're waiting for people and you're reading the Mirror? So, for example,
it's not poshut. If you have mincha scheduled, for example, 7 o'clock,
you do
people are not there at 7 o'clock, it's a big problem.
Even if you start on time and you just kind of slowly
you start on time, and people come in, you'll have a minyan when it comes to Kaddish.
Yes.
It's better everyone's there from the start, but at least that part, you're not waiting. It's a bigger problem if now you have to wait and it's already 7:15 and already people are still not showing. It's a much bigger problem. Ideally, you want the 10 from the start. Hashem, because as soon as you have a scheduled prayer, Hashem shows up. You said you're going to pray to me, right? You're in Hashem's house. Hashem's here, and people are not there.
So the anger applies to everybody for the whole minyan, even those who are already present.
That I don't know. That you have to. I'm assuming the people who came, no, the anger won't go on them because they're there already. The people who are not there, right? That's why people don't understand. They think it's Bukharian standard time. They say 6. That means 6:30. It's not good. Very, very, very problematic. Then you should write 6 kabuta and 6 treated real. I mean, because it's a big problem. Hashem says at 6 o'clock, I'm here, and nobody's there. Big problem. The Tanya, it was taught in the Braita. So you're only up to 114. How do you get to 120? Call air any city who does not have these 10 things is not a city. Anybody who's a wise would not live in that city. Talmid Chacham is not allowed to live in that city. What do you need in the city? The first thing you need is betin makim ve'onchin. You need law and order. You need a betin that punishes people. If you don't have law and order in the city, you will have protesters, rioting, looting, people stealing from one another. It's a big, big problem. Second thing that you need, you need 2 people collecting tzedakah. A city who doesn't care for the disadvantage is not a good city to live in. So now you have 2 plus 3, you have 5 people already. You're up to 119. You have 3 who give out the tzedakah. Uveta Knesset, you need to have a shul in the city. Uvet Harmirchat, you need to have a bathhouse. You need sanitation. You cannot imagine nobody takes a shower and goes to the shul. It's going to stink like crazy. You need to have normal place. Uveta Kisei, you have to have a bathroom. Virofe, you have to have a doctor. You have to have someone. Rofe doesn't mean doctor; it means a healer, someone who heals people. You have to have a healer. The uman and a bloodletter. Used to be in the olden days that the barber also acted as a bloodletter. That's, by the way, why the famous barbershop sign, the white with the red and the blue circling, that actually meant a bloodletter. You're able to go there to get your blood let out. Eventually, they stopped bloodletting, and now they keep using it just for the barber. So you need the bloodletter. It was a big therapy in the olden days, so you needed that. Vilavlar, you need a scribe. Tevach, a butcher, according to some opinions. Umamed tinakot, and you need a teacher of children. Mishum Rabbi Akiva, according to Rabbi Akiva, you cannot live in the city and less af mine pera. You have to have many different types of fruits, different variety of food. When you see different fruits, you see different colors, it gives you more life. You want to live better. You're eating the same bland banana every single day, right? It's life is not going to be the same. You're not going to live exciting. Just want to mention, it says you need a butcher. You should know it's very important to eat meat. They bring down that a person eats meat, he learns Torah better. The famous story that the Taz, one of the commentators on the Shulchan Aruch, his father-in-law said he was going to support him with meat every day. At one point, his father-in-law became a little bit poor, lost some money in the business, and he started feeding him lungs of the animal instead of actual meat. And the Taz felt that his Torah learning was getting less. So he took his father-in-law to court, saying that you're not letting me learn Torah well because you're not giving me meat, which you promised. The Beddin then said, no, lungs is considered meat. So the Taz said, Baruch Hashem, my father-in-law is off the hook. So my learning is my own fault of why I'm not learning so well. So you see that eating meat is actually very important. You remember all your parents would tell you, if you eat the meat on Nosh Klov, you get your sila, you get your strength. It's not a joke. It's the truth. You have to eat your meat. You think about it. My grandma said that her husband used to go to work in Frunze, lived in Bishkek. Said in the morning after Nemoz, after Tefillah, he came home. He had shashlik and vodka, and that's it. And he went to work for the rest of the day. You have to eat the good meat in the morning. You got your strength, and you were able to do a lot of things. Meat is very important. Okay, moving on there. So that's how you got to the 120 people. You need those 120 people. You have those 120 people. You can have a Beit Din Sanhedrin Katana of 23. That's the halacha, by the way. The Rambam says 120 adult males in the city warrants a Beit Din Sanhedrin Katana that can deal with capital punishments. Now, there's another opinion that said 230. Why do you need 230? Family's opinion 230 is very simple to understand because going back to Yitro said for every 10 people, you make one judge. So if you have 230 people, you get 23 judges. That would be enough. That's Sever Nechemia. Very simple. Tanya, there's Torah and Braita. Rebbe says you need more. Matayim b'shiv'im b'sheva. You need 277. 277. Where did we get this from? So it's very simple. We told you if one of the 23 says, I don't know, we remove him and add two more. Right? That you refine, that's the part you logged off for a little bit. But what he said was if we have a Beit Din of 23 and one guy says, I don't know what the answer is, I'm not taking a side, we take him off and we add two more. So now you get to 24. The truth is, you can keep doing this until you get to 70. You keep saying, I don't know, or it keeps staying equal, you keep going up to 70. So if you add till 70, right? If you need 23 to 70, how much you have to add, right? All my fancy people, how much you have to add? 43, right? What is it? 47. So if you do 230 plus 47, you're going to end up to 277. That's what Rabbi Yehuda said. Rabbi Yehuda Nossi said. You need 277 because you need to have those 47 more to get to even it out. But Tanya, Rabbi Omer, we have another place. Rabbi said 278, not 277. Where it says like Kasha. How Rabbi Yehuda says you go up to 70. But the Rabbanan said you go up to 71. Therefore, you will need 278. Kanu Rabbanan. And last piece before we finish the parak. Tanu Rabbanan. If we would have started on time, we would have finished on time. We're almost on time. V'samto aleihem sarei alofim sarei me'od tzrech mishim sarei aserot. Yitro said you should make judge over 1,000, judge over 100, judge over 50, judge over 10. Sarei alafim. So when you have 600,000 Jews in the desert, sarei alafim, those of the 1,000 judges, you had 600 of them. Sarei me'od, the judges over 100, sheshit alafim, you had 6,000. Sarei hamishim, those judges over 50, you had shnei masar elef, you had 12,000. Sarei asarot, those in charge of 10, Sheshit ruba. You had 60,000. Nimtza'u. If you add them all up, Danei Israel, the judges of Israel in the desert, Shiv'at ribo ushmonat alafim v'shesh me'od. The judges of Israel are found 78,600. 78,000 judges, 600 judges, 78,600 judges were judging the Jewish people in the Midbar. That's all the judges, according to the way Yitro set it up. Before we say the Hadron, when the Gemara said you need to have a tall, strong, nice appearance, chachma, and all that, another person that comes to mind in my head, just for us to understand who would be there, was the Harav Gaon, Harav Yisrael Chaim Belsky, the Chatzadik Lebracha. He was also a very tall man. He also was a genius. I had the kavod, I had the zechut to sit in some of his shiurim in yeshiva, and if you can just follow what he was saying, the guy knew everything: science, math, biology, zoology, whatever it was. He had one of the highest marks on the SAT ever in the United States. They offered him free scholarship to the biggest schools. He was planning to go also. Eventually, he just ended up keeping a year in yeshiva, ended up staying in yeshiva for the rest of his life and became a big gadol and Paisik Gadol. But that's someone else who came to mind when you're learning these type of things. So we're talking about Sanhedrin Gadol. We're not talking about stam people. It just became on the Sanhedrin. No, people were really big people. Hadron Allah dinei manot b'shlosha. Hadron Allah dinei manot b'shlosha. Hadron Allah dinei manot b'shlosha. Kol hakavod l'kulam. Mazal tov v'siman tov. Baruch Hashem. We finished the first perek. Wasn't so bad. B'ezrat Hashem, the next perek will start. I believe in this perek we have some interesting stories about David HaMelech. If I remember correctly. So B'ezrat Hashem, we'll look forward to those as well. Any questions? Thank you, Rabbi Avram. Thank you.